Hi everyone, we wanted to give you a quick overview of the data that we've captured recently at the Danjera Dam. So zooming in on the dam wall to begin with, you can see that it's resolved that pretty well as a full 3D model, and we can zoom in and see the level of detail that we've been able to capture. So basically everything larger than this guardrail balustrade that you can see sort of gets lost in the model, but everything larger than that is pretty well represented. So you can have a good look around and check condition on the wall. That all looks to be in pretty good nick considering its age. You can see the number tags on the bottom of the buttresses, and even details around the valve points at the base there. So yeah, pretty happy with how that model has resolved itself. And as we look around, you can see it's very quick to view. This is actually just on my laptop through a standard connection. Very quick to view because as we zoom in, it's loading more and more detail when it knows what we're interested in. So it's not loading the whole very heavy data set, it's just loading things in as we look around, and it notices something that is missing and just loads it sort of on demand. Yeah, just using a standard web browser, it should be very speedy and interactive for you guys. And also to explain just how to look around, you can drag any direction just with the left mouse button to move around, and you can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel, and rotate around a point by dragging with the middle mouse button. So if I just put the mouse pointer over this corner and rotate around, you can see that it's rotating around that corner point. And the other navigation trick is if you double click on something, it will center that in the view as well as zooming in on it. So you can really quickly just double click a few times to zoom right in on something and see it in full detail. So looking along the earth wall here, very well resolved. We can zoom right in and see each individual rock. So if we were to do, for example, a follow-up survey in 12 months time or whenever, you'd be able to do some differencing and actually see where each one of those rocks is moved, if it's moved at all. And coming over to the spillway section, all the concrete at the top seems to be in pretty good shape. And looking a bit further downstream, we start to see this evidence of the erosion that was mentioned. So a small breakaway section there, and what looks like a concrete remediation effort for the erosion here, which is broken away, and you can find that a little bit downstream there. And looking around, you can just see the sort of detail that we're able to capture. So these rock areas, it's almost like you can reach out and touch it, and you can just see every little detail of those areas. So we certainly did zoom in down here to make sure we got it in high definition, knowing that this was an area of interest. And being that 3D model, we can drop pins and make annotations on top of things here. So give those pins names and a bit of a description or comment about it. And this comment area is going to evolve into a chat thread, so multiple users can sort of talk back and forth about a given issue, and that can be shared amongst all stakeholders, everybody that has access to the data set. Other tools, you can measure distances and slopes and areas, so yeah, just basic measurement tools down the left side there. Finally, we'll just finish up looking at this eroded section, which I understand was one of the main areas of interest. So you can certainly see where that's chewing its way into the hillside towards the access road there. So I think that's again all resolved in quite good detail. And just to quickly mention the vegetation here, bare terrain and concrete and other built surfaces resolve really well. Vegetation always shows up with these sort of indicative blobs, because you're just getting a vague indication of that tree as it's sort of shaking around in the wind. It's possible for us to strip those out. So if there was an area like this where you wanted to look at it without the vegetation, but in a case like this for erosion assessment, we figured we'd leave those in there because that can be useful to see the vegetation still holding things in. But yeah, just for future reference, we're able to strip those out if you do need to see the terrain underneath something. And then, yeah, finally, just to show that it's within a full 3D GIS system. So it's not just the data set in isolation, but you can geolocate that within the world. So as we add all of your assets into the system here, you'll start to see those pop up as different pins all over the place, and there's a navigation menu for jumping to those as well. So hopefully that's met your expectations in this first instance, and we look forward to getting the rest of those sites through to you soon. Thank you very much.